All right, welcome back. We got our weekly stock market update and a pretty green week this week for the market. We had 3 green days in a row to start the week off, and we had yesterday a little bit of softness in the market after Trump gave his speech, and we saw a big spike in the crude oil market. The market is closed today on Friday for Good Friday, and we will open back up again on Monday. But not a whole lot to go over this week. The market was pretty oversold and was ripe for a bounce, and that's kind of what we got this week. But we do have oil in the danger zone. It did reach a high of 112 for WTI, and the 10-year yield is still up there. We did pull back a little bit this week, which is good. So this is still, in my opinion, Nibble territory. Didn't do any buying this week, but I still have the shopping list here, and I'm ready to pull the trigger if we get some of these levels hit for these names. But no trades this week. I did add some hedges on the rally this week, so I sold a new batch of covered calls against most of my stocks, and that was it. That was a pretty quiet week this week. We're going to take a look at some of the charts. Heat map first. You can see pretty solid, steady week this week. Big losers, Tesla down 5%. Everything else holding up pretty well. Meta down, Palantir down, but everything looking pretty solid here this week. So oil, like I said, we did get that big pop. That was back in March of 112, but we're still staying at these elevated levels here. Pretty good week this week for the market to it's not reacting so much to the oil market going back up. The market stayed pretty steady, but we've been so oversold, we were due for a bounce. And this week, interest rates did pull back a little bit. So we had 4 pretty good days of the interest rates coming back down. So that's good as well. But again, nothing goes up in a straight line forever. Just like the market won't be in a free fall in a straight line. It's going to have its bear market rallies or pullbacks in a bull market. So let's take a quick look at the Nasdaq. Let's just take a look at the QQQ. So you can see here, big flush. We had multiple red days here in a row. So we were due for a bounce, had a pullback, came back up. Where we go from here, who knows? Not going to be too excited until we can break out of this $600 level and until we can show signs of higher lows. It still looks like we are in a downtrend for the market. All right, let's take a look at some individual names. We can start off here with Tesla. Again, this is just a perfect chart of what a downtrend looks like. So we have these pops, but we keep failing. We rally up, we fail. We rally up, we fail, and we keep making newer lows, newer lows, newer lows, which has been great if you're a covered call seller, because this whole time you're able to collect premiums while you hold the stock, and you're able to collect some cash while you're watching your stock go down in value. A name like Tesla, this is a long-term bet, so you don't want to sell this name just because it's going down, because you don't know when to get back in. So covered calls is a great strategy. I need to do a separate video on my covered call strategy, because when you have these bear markets, it's really a phenomenal way to build some cash and to keep yourself from making a rash decision like selling your stocks. So we'll go over that in a separate video. Let's take a look at NVDA. Looks pretty much like the Nasdaq. Really oversold here, but we got a nice pop. But we're still at 175, which is where we've been for a very, very long time. Just consolidating sideways here forever on NVIDIA. Amazon, same thing. After the earnings drop, we have gone nowhere. We haven't gone further down. We haven't gone further up. We are just chopping sideways. Again, this is a perfect candidate for selling covered calls. Amazon's a long-term hold, so you can sell some covered calls and collect some premium on a name like Amazon while you wait. Google had a nice week this week. Perfect bounce from this 275, but still in a downtrend. So short term, things look constructive because we had a little bit of a bounce. The question is, can we hold this and get a sustainable push back up? Again, all of these names are phenomenal companies, and their valuations are much improved from where they were up here price-wise. So this is this is good opportunities long term for these names. The question is, does Google do something like break back up, or is this going to fail and then we want to see lower prices before we can make our way up? Who knows? Nobody knows. Any other interesting names to talk about? Let's take a look at Microsoft. Where is Microsoft? Microsoft, no bounce, very tiny bounce from 360 up to 375. So again, we're not anywhere near out of the woods on a name like Microsoft, and same with Meta. Nothing going on here in Meta. Apple holding up pretty well. Keeps bouncing off this 250 level. Apple looks really, really good. So there is some strength in some of those blue chip names, but a lot of weakness in a lot of the tech names. So I think that's going to be about it for this week. Nice short week for the market, and we will get back to it next week. I believe we have CPI coming up next week, but I would say a strong week for the market to be resilient against the rise in oil prices. We did get a cool off in the 10-year yield, and we'll see what next week brings us, and eventually we'll get into some earnings, but we still have a few more weeks until we get there. All right, everybody, have a great Easter weekend, and I will see you next week. Peace out.